So summed up, after debating a few times, well, they weren't really debates. As I'm sure you guys all know, there's no such thing as a debate with a creationist, especially a fundamentalist, extremist, psycho-creationist. But after talking a while with a Truthful Christian, I have to say that there are a few people who believe he is just pretending and faking it just to get attention. I don't think so. What I think is that he's absolutely downright insane. And it's one or the other. If he is faking, he's still insane, because to go to those lengths just for attention is not normal. Although I honestly do think that he believes what he says, which is frankly disturbing. But I had a brief final word with him on this. And after this, I just want to say that to Ryuoni, White Lightning, Case with Science, my personal recommendation is to just ignore him from here on in, if you guys can resist yourselves, because I know he says some really stupid stuff, which is just something that people want to reply to. But it's like he has short-term memory loss. I mean, Case with Science put up a video where he finally explained to Truthful Christian the difference between big and small and adaptation, and Truthful Christian apparently got it. He said he got it, and half an hour later he talked to me and repeated the same bullshit argument. So this definitely my last video on Truthful Christian. I'm never gonna make another continuation on this, because he's just a sickening individual, very similar to Venom Fangax and Kent Hovind. It's probably and hopefully going to be my last video on creationism and fundamentalism in general. I'm going to be throwing right back to guns, knives, and camping mostly. So, just saying hats off. If you guys are at all interested in watching this last so-called debate with Truthful Christian, go ahead. But, of course, when I showed him the evidence for evolution, he became aggressive, psychotic. Some of the bottom line is he's psychotic, retarded, or both. I would say I pity him, but unfortunately I don't. So that's all. You guys keep on. You make great videos. Good luck with them all. But I would recommend you ignore him. So, thanks for putting your videos up. They are quite educational and interesting nonetheless. Here's the debate, but all of you guys who have talked to him before already know what to expect.
I'm good, thanks. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So I want to ask you a question about vaccine resistance and bacteria and viruses. What's your opinion on it?
What, sorry?
What's your thought on vaccine resistance and bacteria and viruses?
I'm not sure.
Well, how do you explain it?
Explain bacteria? Well...
No, not bacteria, they're
exist.
vaccine resistance.
Bacteria does exist, but,
Not the bacteria itself. I'm not asking about bacteria itself, I mean their vaccine resistances.
And what is that supposed to prove?
Well, if they didn't have the resistance before, how could they develop it later without evolution?
How does that prove evolution in any way?
Because the bacteria didn't have it before, and later it evolved it, it developed it. It didn't have it 50 years ago, but it has it today.
The laws of entropy says that everything breaks down, and we're getting weaker, we're getting shorter, we're you know.
No, it does not say that. It does not say that.
Yes, it does.
You can open up a high school physics book right now, if you have one near you.
I've been debating so many people today, and I've been repeating the exact same thing.
And you haven't let any of them correct you. You haven't been listening to other people. You haven't let anybody explain to you what entropy is, including me. I've tried to explain it to you several times, and you keep interrupting. Do you have a physics textbook near you?
No.
Alright, then use the internet. Google entropy from a high school physics textbook and look it up. It will tell you very specifically that entropy only degrades in an enclosed, isolated system.
Christiananswers.org.
That is a biased source. I'm not going to look at a biased creationist source. I want to look at an unbiased physics textbook, which says that entropy only degrades. It means it increases in a closed, isolated system that is in a thermal equilibrium. Google it. Google it. Google the definition. Google it, right? If you seriously, right now, you can open up Google and type in entropy and read the definition, and you will notice that it talks about closed systems in thermal equilibrium. Entropy does not increase in open systems.
No.
Just Google it, mate. Just Google it.
Entropy says that everything breaks down and degrades.
Keep reading now to the second law.
I mean, I can provide several examples of entropy. For example, pine cones and dragonflies. Pine cones and dragonflies have gotten smaller over the past decades.
That's not entropy, that's evolution.
No, evolution says that things get bigger.
It never said that. Darwin never said that. Darwin never said that. The Origin of Species never said that. No biology textbook today says that. Find me one textbook, one biology book that says that evolution says things get bigger and stronger. No book says that. Evolution is change. It does not mean bigger and stronger. It just means more adaptable to their environment. Do you have a biology textbook near you?
Okay, so can you tell me what caused the pine cones to get smaller over the past decades? What caused the pine cones to get smaller?
I'm not familiar with pine cones, so I can't tell you. I haven't studied pine cones.
So you will just blindly believe in anything. You will just blindly believe in anything as long as an idiot with a PhD tells you.
If that was true, I'd be believing in creationism.
Blind faith.
If that was true,
Blind space Faith.
if that was true, I would believe in the Bible and creationism. Why don't I? Because of evidence. I don't believe what I'm told without evidence. Evolution has evidence. Again, how do you explain vaccine resistance in bacteria and viruses? How do you explain that the second chromosome in humans is fused from two other chromosomes? How do you explain that humans can't synthesize vitamin C? How do you explain all those things?
No.
I'm not saying yes or no, I'm asking you a question. How do you explain why humans can't synthesize vitamin C? How do you explain that our second chromosome is fused?
It basically has something to do with the law of entropy, such as dragonflies, as I said earlier, such as dragonflies and pine cones. See, dragonflies and pine cones have gotten smaller over the past decades.
You still don't understand what entropy is. I've just explained it to you. Entropy does not mean smaller and weaker.
It's not an evolutionistical cause, but rather it's an entropy. It's a cause created by entropy. The law of entropy.
TC, I just asked you to look up the law of entropy. What it says is that entropy increases in closed thermal equilibric systems.
No.
Just Google it right now, read it out loud. It will say thermal systems in equilibrium that are closed and isolated. Obviously, animals are not isolated, closed thermal equilibric systems. We have the sun for that. And again, how does entropy possibly explain why humans have a fused chromosome and why different species have the same transposon segments in different sections of DNA? Entropy doesn't explain that. Evolution does. I mean, do you know what transposons are?
No.
So you don't know what a transposon is?
No.
Okay, let me try and explain it to you then. Transposon is something very similar to a virus. It pretty much is just a short section of genetic material with stop codons. It's pretty much a virus without its own little, excuse you. A transposon is pretty much a kind of retrovirus.